Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt City Podcast. Dave Palais, Josh Palais, and Mario Heron. Joining you right now as the game just ended. Chargers lose to the Buffalo Bills, much closer than many people anticipated. Final score was 24-22. If you watched that game, there's some things tonight that we saw that things I think you'd be proud of, and then some things to go, that's exactly what I expected. That's what the Chargers do. Today's game, though, as we said going into this, all three of us said the same thing. Yeah, it's better for the organization if they lose this game and lose the ones after this, for the fact will help them out in the draft. But at the same time, we know when we're watching the game, we're all rooting for the Chargers. At no point do any of the three of us feel like, man, I hope the Chargers throw a couple interceptions or get blown out. You find yourself rooting for this team every step of the way. And guys, it went exactly what we thought as far as how our fandom goes. But at the same time, when you're watching the game, Josh, did you think, watch this, Easton Stick's going to put a drive together, do something Justin Herbert couldn't do this season, and win this game at the very end for the Chargers?
No, I didn't feel that way at all. There's not 1 second I felt like Easton Stick's about to do something crazy right here. That last drive was a Justin Herbert special this season. The Chargers as a whole, the last drive of the game has been a catastrophe. So I wasn't surprised that happened. I was surprised that the Chargers kept it so close. Like we all predicted in last show, we thought the Chargers were going to get blown out. That wasn't the case. At one point, it looked like the Chargers were going to win the game, especially when they were up so early. But they ultimately lose, which is good for the Chargers and their draft pick. But as fans, like Dave said, you can't root against your team. It's just impossible almost.
It's impossible. And look, this is a win. They covered. They covered by over 10 points. That's a win. You know, that's winning my book at this point when we're at the backup QB with interim head coach. Like, that's just what you're at right now. I said this on the show, and I stand by it. Be sucky fun. Tonight was sucky fun. You know, it's like, it's a close game. We might win. You get your heart up. You get excited, and then they take it away from you. And you're like, oh, that felt good. You know, it's like, oh, that felt good to have that rush again. So I'm all in for this. If we're going to get this, Dave, to end this year of just a bunch of sucky fun for these last two games, count me in. I'll be the sucker. I'll jump on the hook, throw me in the river. And as long as I can go ahead and see Cameron Dicker at the end, I'm all good.
Cameron Dicker's been the MVP, man. I'm telling you, he's been absolutely amazing. Josh kept saying it during the game. This guy's the best kicker in the NFL. I wouldn't trade him out for anybody. Even when Mike Tirico was trying to jinx him with his stats, Cameron Dicker still was money from 53 yards out and just had a fantastic game. You know, if we're going to look at this game, like we said, as fans, you want to see them win and compete and everything else, and you want to see some bright spots of guys that don't make a lot of money, because guys you might keep on the roster for next year. Look, Quentin Johnston's not going anywhere. Okay, he's not. He's a first-round pick. It doesn't matter that Tom Telesco is the one that picked him, and Telesco's not there anymore. Quentin Johnston's going to be on the Chargers next year. Let's be honest here. If Quentin Johnston knew how to line up on the ball, the Chargers score. You know, there's a good chance you're scoring a touchdown in that situation, and you do win that game. So I'll put it back on the rookie and everything we said about this kid, half the season ago. You don't know the playbook. It is obvious when the Cowboys faced the Chargers, and Tony Romo is sitting there telling you exactly what's going on. And then Tony Romo comes out and hits you again with, this is why this guy's not doing well. Over and over again. Tony Romo was right. And again, Tony Romo has that relation with Kellen Moore, who's telling him this kid doesn't know where to be on the football field. Look, there's a great opportunity for the Chargers to have the ball on the 3-yard line with the first down, because Quentin Johnston couldn't line up correctly. It cost the Chargers. Now, if we're in a situation where the team's 5-10, they aren't going anywhere. I got it. Okay. So the difference would have been what? They win tonight. They're 6-9, and we're probably on pace to pick 17, where we always pick. That's just always what the Chargers do. This time they actually have a chance to move up in the draft, and hopefully they don't whiff. But when you're sitting there looking at the Chargers making the same mistakes over and over again, to Quentin Johnston not knowing where to be, to Easton Stick getting sacked right at the end of the game, and you're going, I mean, that is the book on the Chargers for the same thing over and over again. Quentin Johnston's not going to play like a professional, and they're going to blitz the quarterback, and we aren't going to know how to adjust, and we're going to take a sack when the announcer says the same thing every week. Boy, you can't take a sack there. He didn't have a choice. He was in the ground a second and a half after the ball was snapped. Stop saying that. You can't take a sack there. Like it's his fault. That was not his fault when it come to falling to the ground. I'm sorry. But, man, you got to make adjustments on those play calls and know this is what teams are going to do against you. They're going to blitz you every single time in those situations, and you never react. You've never made one adjustment through 15 games. Insane.
Yeah, one thing I hate is when guys that never played quarterback act like they know what they're talking about. He can't take the sack there. Like, dude, there's no choice. Do you think Easton Stick's like, oh my God, I know what I'm doing? Like, dude, there's no option. There's like 3 guys right there. There's no other option. There's so many things you talked about right there that I really, really need to talk about. The Quentin Johnson thing was funny. It was funny because it was his play that he got taken off the board. He's the one that took away his own stats. You look at the box score after the game, and you think, well, at least this is what I thought. Quentin Johnston had a pretty good game. Take away that blunder. Stats-wise, he probably had a good game. He didn't. He had 2 catches for 29 yards on 5 targets. It's just not going to get it done. Him not knowing the plays is standard. Jaden Guyton looking like he doesn't belong in the NFL is standard. Darius Davis, Mario, what happened to him, man? He drops 2 balls.
Mario.
On kick. I think it was one's a kickoff, right? Or were they both kickoffs? He drops those 2 balls, and you wonder, dude, you have one job. You're drafted as a special teams guy. You have not proven to be, worth it, at least so far. Do you get frustrated with Darius Davis? Are you ready to move on from him, or what do you think when you watch that?
I think it's just some of the rookie pains, like just some of the pains you kind of have with them. It is frustrating when you see it. We're like, dude, your job's to catch the ball, and jobs are contagious. Every receiver is going to tell you that. And as soon as one gets dropped, it spreads around the room, and you have Guyton getting the hell out of there. Like, that just spreads that crap like any disease you've ever seen in this world. So I think I'm going to put that blame on him, actually, not Darius Davis. I'm going to hold my Darius Davis stock until I can't anymore. But the Quinn Johnson thing, have you guys brought that up? 2 times, looks at the ref. I'm back. I'm off ball. The ref's like, are you sure, kid? Like, are you sure? And he kept giving it to him. And then he gets called for the penalty. And to crap on my guy, Darius Davis, he does an illegal motion as well. Can someone explain the rules of football to the damn rookies? Can someone do that? Can we check that off the board? Like, I think, come on, let's get that going. To get this little things going right, but the Chargers haven't done the little things all year, and that's why the spot that they are in. I guess just don't draft TCU guys unless it's the Danny Thompson guys. I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, I'll keep my Darius Davis stock, and it's pretty low right now, but I'm keeping it. It's hotter than hell in here. I've already got swass cooking. And this college shirt that I wore for this Italian dinner is really, really thick, but I just found it. So shout out to Abercrombie and Fitch.
Dude, open the damn window. It's freaking 25 degrees outside. Open the window where you're at. What are you talking about?
I know.
What's
I need
the temperature
to.
in Indiana? Nobody wants to hear that it's hot.
48, actually.
I just want you to open the windows so your parents freak out that you're letting all the cold air in. Look, a couple things. Quentin Johnson, man, I don't know. We go over this over and over again. You already know my feelings on it. We all feel the same way. And Charger fans feel the same way, too. It's been a complete disappointment to the point it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the organization, for the fan base, everything they do. They go out of their way to make him look better than what he actually is. If this was not a guy drafted in the first round, I'll tell you what, if this was a guy drafted in the 7th round, he would have been released. They would have found another person to play that position. Josh brought it up a long time ago. Jarvis Landry was sitting there and going, here's a 30-year-old wide receiver, is a vet. That why aren't you calling him? When everybody fell off the face of the earth, why didn't you call a guy like Jarvis Landry? Somebody that's proven they can do it. This is when the Chargers were actually had a chance and consider themselves in contention. But it's because they're too afraid to tell everybody we made a giant mistake at picking him. Especially the embarrassing part is everyone around him is really good. So he doesn't know where to line up. He can't catch the ball. He never comes through for you. He's been arguably the biggest disappointment on the roster as far as guys that play every week and don't seem to get better. It's very frustrating. The fact he doesn't know how to line up is very, very frustrating. So you go 2 things. Is that coaching or is that him? And guys, I got to believe it's just him. It's just him. You can't hold his hand on a football field. You can't hide when you're on an NFL football field. And what do you want people to do? I mean, Rashawn Slater's the one that takes the penalty, but thank goodness Chris Collinsworth called him out and said, that's not on Slater. That's not his fault. You know, the guy didn't know where to line up. As Josh said, you took away your own stats, but also you probably took away a win for your Chargers. And the goal is to win games. The Chargers players don't care where you're picking in the draft, you know. And when they went through the money situation today about how much money that the Chargers, you know, are paying out to their stars, basically they're way over. Going into 3 days ago, they were $50 million basically over the cap. Well, they cut Sebastian Joseph Day. Nobody saw that coming. The guy started every damn game, and all of a sudden they cut him. And so that brought it down to $42.5 million. And now you're going, okay, well, who else is going to go when the season's over? Well, Quentin Johnston's not going anywhere. He's still on a rookie deal, but he's a first-round pick. And there's so many holes that you have to fix. Like, I can bring this up over and over again. Nobody wants to hear it. But the problem is the situation, the magnitude of the problem comes back to what we've been saying for a long time. And this is picking up more and more steam. And guys, I say we stay on it, maybe not in this show, but it's become national attention when we talked about Harbaugh. It's become national attention now about John Spanos. And man, I've been around this organization. I mean, personally, been around this organization for more than 30 years. And I never hear John Spanos or Andy Spanos' son take heat like John's taken over the last week. So I think it's working. I honestly believe the fan base is now starting to call the Chargers out for, you need a real team president and you need a real head coach and you need somebody that knows what they're doing when it comes to giving out contracts and teaching and basically being the head of coaching that knows what they're doing with the reputation that guys will respect, because nobody respects those coaches that are on that staff right now.
Not at all. And the Quentin Johnston situation, people were comparing him to JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, with the Seahawks. If you guys remember, Jackson Smith and Jigba had the game-winning touchdown against the Eagles, right? Amazing catch to win the game. It reminded me when I was in high school, I had two friends that were like 4'10" as sophomores in high school. One guy had a growth spurt and one guy stayed 4'10". The guy that was 4'10" looked at the other guy and said, "Why'd you leave me here?" You know, made a joke. "Why'd you leave me here? Why did you have to have a growth spurt?" That's how I feel about Quentin Johnston and JSN. If you look at Quentin Johnston's stats, he is the 13th best receiver or best in receiving yards in that draft. 13th. It's unbelievable, guys. I mean, there's not even close between him and JSN anymore. Quentin Johnston has 380 yards and JSN has 541. It's not even a comparison anymore. But that's just a thing with the Chargers. They haven't drafted well. They don't have good talent on the team. The PFF stats before the game, Kenneth Murray, 73 out of 80 for his position. Derwin James, 85 for 93 out of all safeties at his position. It is unbelievable, guys, how these guys on the team just are lagging in their position. They're just not very good. I don't know if you guys noticed today, but Derwin James was taken out a lot in this game. He led the team in tackles, but there's a lot of situations where they took him off the field, which I thought was very strange. He only played a nickel, I believe, in the first half. He did not play at safety. I don't know what the hell's going on. But John Spanos, I'm glad he's getting heat. And I believe we are one of the first ones, if not the first ones, to put heat on him and saying that he's not doing his job. We have a source that's very close to the team that has said John Spanos is so involved with who the coach is, with who the players are. But, you know, it all goes on Tom Telesco. So I'm happy that the fans are starting to put heat on him, because that's what happened with Brandon Staley, right? A lot of fans were upset with Brandon Staley. Nothing happened. And then when it became a national story that he was a joke, he eventually got fired. John Spanos, who knows if this becomes a national story, but if the fans keep pushing this and it becomes a really big story, maybe John Spanos will be, you know, taken out of his position. That's a, you know, fantasy, but who knows if it actually happens.
Yeah, I think it's finally, you know, all the signs are kind of pointing at him, right? Like there's no one to out right now because everyone out's gone. Like it's just Johnny Boy sitting there at home by himself. He's Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all the furniture's out of the house. And it's just him in that room. Like that's just him from this window of we're all in and then it's a disaster. And it's just him. There's no one else to blame. There's no one else to talk to, no one else to look at. It's just him. And he's in this tight spot where now he's got to make a move. And he's got to make a move quickly and make sure he's going to be successful. That being said, Josh, the Derwin James stuff is crazy interesting to me. The fact that he was kind of moved into his nickel position and, you know, good amount of times was not in on key moments and just throughout this game, and yet led the Chargers in tackles. Like maybe that's the route with Derwin James, right? Like if he's leading the team in tackles, that's a good game, you know. And if that's a way the route you gotta go with him to finish out the rest of the year, well, one, it's going to be less hits he's gonna have to take, and you don't want him getting hurt in case you want to trade him this offseason or go any other direction with that. But it's just something interesting. I kind of liked it that the Chargers did that, and it proved well. I mean, we held the Bills to, I know, only 24 points, but still only 24 points. Josh Allen didn't like kill us, you know. He didn't, you know, absolutely run away and just was our worst nightmare. 237 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Shout out Gilman for playing his ass off and having another great game for the Chargers. I loved everything I saw from him. God, that guy hits freaking hard. But I loved what he did. And the JSN Quentin Johnson thing, Dave, drives me insane. JSN has Geno Smith throwing to him and Drew Lock. Very hard to look good with Geno Smith and Drew Lock. Very, very, very hard. And I think there's some receivers in this league that are incredibly talented, but they're like untapped. And I would put JSN as one of those guys that crazy talented, Dave, but just has been untapped from everything that's around him. And Drake London, I also put in that kind of position too. Allen Robinson was in this position until we all found out he was a fraud. But I think he's just one of those receivers that crazy talented. He just hasn't been given the spotlight and just the tools to be everything he can be.
All right, real quick, go to Derwin James. You guys tell me what you think. What if you what if next year you go out and you say, look, our plan is to trade Derwin James because he's obviously been terrible this year. I mean, man, I thought honestly, and we've done this show for a couple of years now, where I thought Derwin James eventually was going to be a defensive player of the year, like the best defensive player in all the NFL. And he's so bad right now at you know his position. What do you think of this if they say we're going to keep you, Derwin, but we're going to get rid of Murray and you're going to play that position? You're going to take over for him. Josh, would you be okay with it?
Do you think his body can withstand playing middle linebacker?
It's the only thing I can think of. Can his body withstand it? Now, he's bigger than most safeties, and he's not as big as a lot of linebackers. But if you look at today's NFL, look how thin guys are now. Now it's all about speed and being in the right place. It's not the old days where you had these big, bulky linebackers.
I would say you were right if he didn't have injury history. Like he could barely stay healthy playing safety. I think if he played linebacker, he would get hurt really, really fast. The weird thing about Derwin James is he used to be all around the ball always at the beginning of his career. Now it's like, is Derwin even on the field? Like you wondered that when you watch the Charger games. And today he really actually wasn't on the field. But when he used to be on the field all the time, you'd wonder, where the hell is Derwin James? I would say right now, without a doubt, Aloy Gilman. How do you pronounce his first name, Mario? I'll screw this up. Do you know how to pronounce it?
No, I was just riding with you, brother.
Gilman.
I'm not okay with this speech impediment.
No, I looked at Mario. Mario did what I did. He just called him Gilman, and that's literally what I wrote in my notes. I'm just going with Gilman.
Somebody already yelled at me early in the year for calling him wrong.
I know. That's why
Gilman.
I don't want to play that game.
Yeah, we're not going to play that game today. Gilman is the best safety on the Chargers this season. Would we all agree on that? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
I mean, this year he's definitely the best safety on the team. The Chargers have 3 guys that are worthy of being Pro Bowlers. It's Khalil Mack, Keenan Allen, and Cameron Dicker. Everybody else, no. Rashawn Slater, Derwin James, down years. Justin Herbert, I would say down year for sure. Not all of it's his fault, but only 3 guys I'd say are actually Pro Bowlers. And Derwin James has taken the biggest step backwards to me. He's the guy that Dave said everybody expected to be in the conversation as Defensive Player of the Year, the #1 safety in the league, and he just hasn't been that. How much does that have to do with the scheme that Brandon Staley ran? And how much does that have to do with Derwin James? That's the thing I'm curious about. Maybe next year it's a big bounce back year for Derwin.
I think that's the thing too. Like maybe it's a different scheme. He bounces back. Maybe we see something in these like final 2 games where they kind of move him around, do something different with Staley gone and go, okay, like he was just in a bad spot, bad situation. And now he's kind of set free. Now we're going to see the Derwin James that we all know and love. Speaking of things being changed without Staley, did you guys enjoy the field goal day? Did you enjoy Gift going, you know what? I'm fine with playing a conservative. I'm fine with, not saying we have the nothing to lose approach and just going, we're going to take what we can get and we're going to keep playing hard football. That's what I got out of the Chargers today. Was we're going to take what we can get and we're going to play really hard football. And I think that's the approach. I felt that Gift kind of came into this, and the Bills kind of came with an approach of, this team's got walking wounded everywhere. This team is already got the trips planned to Cancun. They got nothing to play for. Half of them are not going to be on the team next year. We can be hungover and win this game. That's it. That's what I thought of the Bills. Like right away, I was like, all right, everyone got a little liquored up last night. Not saying they did. I'm just making this up. But like they're going out there going, no, we're more talented. We can just go out there and go play. And I feel like that's the two different approaches that happened. Bills still came out on top, Dave, but I can't say that I didn't like the little breath of fresh air. I'm a big go for a fourth down guy, but I did like the breath of fresh air of, hey, we'll just take the points. I kind of liked it with Giff. Good job, Giff.
All right, two things. First of all, the Bills are walking out of SoFi tonight going, we're lucky to get a win.
Yes,
you can't turn the ball
100%.
over the way they did. I mean, let's be honest. If we were doing the Bills show right now, we'd say, what are they doing? I mean, all these turnovers. You got to hold on to the ball. I mean, it was not good football if you're a Buffalo Bills fan thinking, we think we're okay, and we put a win streak together, and we're ready to make a run at the Super Bowl, and maybe we're the most dangerous team in the AFC. The Bills did not play a clean game at all. I mean, they did not play playoff football. They walking out of SoFi, getting on that plane going, we dodged a bullet, man. That was amazing that we won that game. We couldn't have played worse than what we did. We were our own worst enemy tonight. And so we spent, the first 20 minutes talking about the Chargers, but let's be honest, if you were a Bills fan and we're doing a Bills podcast, we're going, what the hell's going on? You gotta button it up. That wasn't good at all for the Bills. And the Bills, here we are with a couple games going in before they hit the playoffs, and saying that's what we do in a national television game. You can't blame it on anything. What the time zone? It was an 8 o'clock game Buffalo time when that game started. So what? It didn't make any sense, man. If I'm a Bills fan, I'm pretty nervous and not happy with that win on the way it went. You want to show you're making progress, but that being said, they got the win. I mean, they, again, 24-22, and late in the season, you don't expect to see games like that. They did not play very well. Going back to Giff Smith, which makes me laugh because you guys saw that meme that they put together this week of that. Remember the girl on the airplane who's freaking out and yelling, on the airplane that mother effer's not real?
Oh, yeah.
They did the same thing, but it's Giff Smith. on that meme, dude. I don't know this guy. All I know is when he starts talking with that thick Southern accent. And man, I lived in Tennessee for 9 years. Josh lives in Tennessee now, and I'm like, all right, look at this redneck in LA. Let's hear this guy talk a little bit more. Mark, he didn't have a chance to go for it any fourth downs. They weren't going to ever get it on a fourth down. Yeah,
that's also true.
They gave you because, dude, he knew it. I mean, we knew it watching. Like, oh, you weren't going to go for it on fourth down. They were never going to get a first down on any of those. You had to do it and go, Cameron Dicker, please, let's try and outscore them. They're going to keep giving us the ball. We're going to keep going for 3 points, and that's what the Chargers are. They aren't that great of a team, but there's no chance of ever getting it on a fourth down. Who are we kidding? This team stinks.
No, it's the right game plan, Mario. Go for the field goal. It's not like Easton Stick's going to, convert a bunch of fourth downs. Justin Herbert couldn't do it. Why would Easton Stick be able to do it? I really feel like if you get the ball to the 40, you're going to get 3 points. Cameron Dicker is automatic as it is right now. You're going to get 3 points. Try to get as many 3 points as you can. I think it was the right move. Giff Smith reminds me of Coach O when he took over for USC, right? The Southern coach that came in, the season's, already shot. It's kind of how the way I look at it.
Couldn't understand anything he said. Yeah.
This Chargers team, man, it was fun to watch them compete. You obviously don't want to see your team get blown out, but it is the result that you want. You do want that high draft pick. You don't want to get screwed out of getting a great player. No matter where you pick right now, you're going to end up with a great player, but you want to get up as far to the top as you can, obviously. So that's what I wanted to see. There's one thing I did see, Mario, on Twitter that I wanted to ask you about. Did you see Ian Rappaport talking about the Chargers GM situation and how they're reimagining?
No, but please go forward.
Ian Rappaport said that they're reimagining the process of the GM, trying to be different than the way Tom Telesco was, and they want somebody that's creative and a straightforward thinker. And I was like, that is crazy that you're going to diss Tom Telesco like that, a guy that hasn't said anything bad about the Chargers when we've heard that his hands have been tied by John Spanos. For them to say, we want somebody to be creative and a straightforward thinker, that's just a really nice way of saying we want somebody that's not going to be dumb. And that's the way I totally saw it. I couldn't believe that, that's the way the Chargers are going about it. I can't believe also that John Spanos and Dean Spanos are putting all this blame on Tom Telesco and allowing John to keep going in this role. I would think that Dean would talk to his son and tell him to take a step back, but you've heard that that's obviously not going to happen.
There's so many ways you can describe your general, like your next candidate, right? But like straightforward just the word straightforward is just pretty much saying we don't want an idiot. being our GM. Like we don't want a guy that has the 4 dummies books behind him, or like for me right now, 5 Bibles with all the same stuff. You don't want that guy. Like you want something different. You want something good. And like just the way to do that, it's like, look, say what you want about Tom Telesco, and we've criticized him a lot, right? The Quinn Johnson pick was bad. The Joey Bosa extension, not looking great, right? JC Jackson, one of the worst signings in Charger history, right? But at the same time, I mentioned this in the show over and over again. I'll mention it again. You got to give the guy a little credit from going from Phillip Rivers to Justin Herbert. You got to give that guy some credit. That's pretty freaking impressive. And I understand that there's had a lot of faults in between, but to drag his name right now, really, that's what you're going to do? Like, you're going to take these little subtle shots at him? Dude, get lost. Get freaking lost. Like, come on, show some respect. He worked his ass off for a very long time. He dealt with your bull crap for a very long time, and he gave you a franchise QB. He's not leaving you in a worse situation than you've ever been in before. He's leaving you in the Charger spot that the Chargers always find themselves in, right? With a lot of names, and nothing to show for it, an empty trophy case, Dave. So that stuff pisses me off. Like, just let Telesco be, let him try to get another job, try to be like freaking respectful about it, and try to find a GM that's a little bit more than just straightforward. I would just suggest that if you want to win anything.
Yeah, it was an interesting quote. Number one, I don't think there's anybody that respects people that hit you on the way out. You know what I mean? Basically, hey, I'm already going towards the door. What's the deal with the kick in the ass? What's happening here? I mean, and you did it right before Christmas. You didn't wait the 3 weeks for the season to end before I had to tell my family I'm looking for a job. You did it right before Santa gets here. I got 2 little kids, and now I got to explain to them, hey, I'm going to be here on Christmas Eve, and I'm going to spend every holiday with you because they kicked me right in the ass on the way out the door. Forward thinking when they say that with, what's the exact quote, Josh? You just said it. What's the quote they used?
Creative and a forward thinker.
Okay, forward thinker. That's telling me they think that it's almost 2 different things. When they're saying creative means, to me, you're taking a gamble. You're going to think, outside the box, which I hate that term. But at the same time, I think he's been criticized in that same quote for taking a guy like Quentin Johnson when they're saying the answer was right in front of your face, but you reached for a guy that you shouldn't have reached for. There were gimmies on that list that you didn't take. And I think that's what the shot is. I think that's a shot at him taking Quentin Johnson. And again, from what we hear, that wasn't his pick. That was John Spanos's pick. So I don't know. To take the blame off your son's even more gutless to me, because right now, if you're going to give your son the title of team president, then you got to wear it. And when John Spanos talks to the media for an hour and goes nowhere, just goes in circles and doesn't give you anything to grab onto, just go, what the hell are we saying? I don't understand what your direction of your company is. You have no mission statement in this company, yet you're the president of the team. So from everything I've ever heard about a draft, okay, when I talk to different general managers, and I've been lucky enough in 30 years of doing this job to probably talk to 70 of them, is you come out with your list in your first round, Mario, and let's say the draft is, let's say 12 deep, okay, meaning 12 guys that not only will start their first year, but we see as Pro Bowlers right away, that these guys are Pro Bowl type players, like a Micah Parsons type guy that this guy's that guy when he comes into the league. And then after, let's say that number could be 9 1 year, could be 12, could be 13. Usually it never goes past 13, that there are 13 guys they think are Pro Bowl talent guys out of the whole draft. And then from there, that's when you decide if you're going to make trades, that you're going to push back to go, okay, look, we're starting to get diminishing returns at pick 14. Where are we picking? This is where we start accumulating picks because someone else might have that draft going, whatever, 14. But Tom Telesco is not dumb. I mean, look where Tom Telesco came from. And I say it, Mark, because you're in Indiana. He learned from Bill Polian, who did a great job with the Colts, and did a fantastic job. And you talk about going from Rivers to Herbert. Guess what? They went from Manning to Andrew Luck. How many franchises get a chance to do that? Go quarterback to quarterback and going, that's our guy. But yet Telesco and the Chargers have nothing to show for it. Peyton Manning at least got you a Super Bowl trophy and was in AFC championship games all the time. Unfortunately, he's running into Tom Brady every year, but you look at the Chargers, Phillip Rivers was in what, one AFC championship game? Never went to a Super Bowl. Justin Herbert, right now, people are wondering, has this guy gotten better since year one? Well, I'm watching, this team today, and I'm going, there's a lot of holes, just like we talked about. At the same time, I will give a compliment right now. Easton Stick played much better than I thought. I mean, we made jokes about it on Thursday and going, this guy has no chance. He stinks, number one. Two is he's playing the wrong sport. He has a complete baseball player's name. And then three, he had no one to throw to. We were kind of laughing about it. Easton Stick overall played a pretty good game for backup quarterback, and he didn't look nervous. He looked like he was controlled when he wasn't getting blitzed, and the offensive line couldn't pick anybody up. But overall, I was impressed with him tonight on saying, you know what, he managed the game well enough for what the Chargers could do tonight. It wasn't his fault the team lost, put it that way.
It wasn't, and I honestly don't think it was his fault against the Raiders either. The Chargers defense was just awful. Everything against the Raiders was awful. I don't think Easton Stick was that bad. I'm completely fine with Easton Stick being the backup quarterback next year. It's better than Chase Daniel last season when he came into the game and he looked like, hey, what the hell is going on? Like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. Easton Stick looks Easton Stick looks okay to me. So the Chargers would have the 8th pick, correct, Mario? If the season ended today, wouldn't it be about the 8th pick?
Let me double check that.
All right. While you look that up, I went through the
right.
last few. Went through the last few drafts at the 8th pick. At the 8th pick, there's been guys drafted like T.J. Hawkinson, Christian McCaffrey, Roquan Smith. My point being here is you're going to get a great player available. 5?
5th pick, yeah, 5th pick because they just lost, so they shoot up right now.
Okay. Well, there you go, dude. If you're drafting at the 5th pick, you're going to be able to pick at somebody who is the best player at their position with the 5th pick. You should be able to draft basically whoever you want. Obviously, there's only other 4 guys going ahead of your pick.
But you're not looking for a quarterback. So right there, guess what? You're going to get the top 2 players, right? If you're picking 5, and let's say the 3 of those guys are going to be quarterbacks, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be able to take the best player that's not a quarterback. The Chargers, whoever the GM is coming in, if it's Harbaugh's guy or whoever is coming in is going to be able to take the best player available, and that's exactly what you want. John Spanos, it's just like the movie Tommy Boy. I know you've never seen the movie Tommy Boy, Mario. He's a dummy. Tommy Callahan, he's a dummy. It's Chris Farley. His last name's Callahan. He works for Callahan Auto Parts. His dad is Big Tom Callahan. It's just like Dean Spanos. You're not going to get fired. You could be sleeping on your desk. You're not going to get fired. Is it the exact situation with John Spanos? John Spanos can make all the comments in the world of, it starts with ownership. It's our fault. Well, then do something about it, Dean. If it's your fault, then get rid of your son. Do something about it. That's what us fans want to see. I'm so curious to who the new GM is and if they're going to put up with John Spanos' stuff. It's Bill Belichick. You obviously know it's not going to be okay with him to be putting up with John Spanos. You're going to be able to take the best player available. That's not a quarterback, most likely. Make it work. You cannot keep missing on these draft picks. You can't keep drafting guys like Zion Johnson and Quentin Johnston. It just does not work. These TCU guys, for God's sakes, do they not learn a playbook in college? You get Max Duggan that gets cut right before the season ends. It looks like he doesn't know the plays. That's just the way it looks. Darius Davis doesn't know when to run, go in motion. He would be horrible with the Miami Dolphins. They run too many motions for him. And then Quentin Johnston doesn't understand hand signals with the referee. It's like he just started playing football today. I don't understand that, man. You guys got to do your homework when you draft these guys and see if they're players. Also, somebody else that people aren't talking about, dude, I think Eric Kendricks is not very good. He came in to replace Drew Tranquill to be a guy that's a difference maker. He has not been that. I think the Chargers have done an awful job with drafting and free agent pickups. We know what happened with J.C. Jackson. You can't keep missing, man. You can't be a serious franchise and talk about we spend so much money on the facility. We spend so much money on our defense. We spend so much money on our quarterback. Well, then draft the right guys to support this team. You miss all the time on draft picks and free agency. Let's see them turn a corner, because the one common denominator here is John Spanos. He's been with the team all the way through since 1995 when there's been some god-awful teams and they haven't won anything.
I like how you brought up the Eric Kendricks thing, because that was a move, a kind of typical win now move, right? Like, you got a guy that's veteran at his position, multiple Pro Bowls, a lot of experience, who needs that one. He's got that one last run in him, that one last goal, this is my chance to get a ring. And you kind of bring him in and go, all right, we're just going to go. What can he bring to the table for us? He's going to be a leader for the defensive side of the football. And I feel like we've gotten none of that. Like, absolutely none of that. Like, there's nothing from him that I'm like, yeah, this defense has really changed with him being on the team. What the run game has improved a little bit. I'll give you a little bit. I'll give you a little bit, not great. And I don't think there's a good or strong feeling of that he's just been this overpowering leader. Like I haven't gotten that feeling. I don't think you guys have gotten that feeling at all. So the
No.
Eric Kendricks thing, yeah, I think Tranquil honestly would have been a better option just to keep around. That guy played his ass off every game, gave a good pop every game. But now he's in Kansas City, which is going to probably make a playoff run. So good for him. And is a former Hoosier. So, up yours to the rest of 49 states. The Chargers with the 5th pick right now is kind of interesting in a lot of ways for me because I look down at the teams below going QB loaded class. The possibility of trading down and still getting what you want is high. Like the Falcons sound right now like they're in a desperate spot for a QB, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
they
what
are.
they sound like. Yeah. So they're in a desperate spot. And if they go on Fields and let's say the Bears want to keep Fields or they just don't get Fields, dude, they're going to be freaking aggressive moving up. So you're going to deal with a team that's pretty stupid that has Ryan Pace in that Ryan Pace in that freaking room that wanted Trubisky. So they're going to do something stupid. Contact that guy, make him a fool. Like that's the thing I'm excited about the Chargers is there's going to be teams really aggressive for a QB that really want to get up there that you could really mess with and really take advantage of. And I think that's the thing that excites me the most. And I think Charger fans can be excited. Where if you get the right guy and he makes the right move, you can beat Danny Ainge that tells the whole league, up yours. I got my guy at 3. Convince this other team to take that guy at 1. And now I'm probably going to win an NBA championship in the next coming years.
NBA championship?
Probably. Yeah, your Lakers aren't seeing anything, Bubba. Take your in-season tournament.
Give me the
shove it
4
up there.
teams. Give me the 4 teams right now ahead of the Chargers. Do you have it in front of you?
Yeah. So right now it's Washington at 4-10. I think the top 4 is probably not going to be interchangeable.
Washington's going to trade out. Okay, Washington's going to trade out. They're going to keep Sam Howell. They're going to trade out, I say.
Okay. And then
my guess.
Arizona, New England, Chicago. We'll go Carolina, Chicago.
Well, Carolina's the Bears pick, right?
Yeah, that's why I said Carolina, Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So again, there are a bunch of teams out there that want quarterbacks. Falcons, as you said, want a quarterback. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. It's going to be a lot of fun heading into April as we talk more and more about this. You probably won't know until probably the day of the draft or the day right before the draft or what the Chargers will end up doing. But it's kind of where we're at. I mean, we're looking for a hope. What's the next thing coming? Can you get the guy you want? Is there a chance that you can end up with a Marvin Harrison Jr., which is insane that we're looking to draft a wide receiver again in the first round because you blew it this year. You basically went without a first-round pick this season. And you're looking and say, man, if there's a chance to get him, can they possibly do that? If not, how far back can they go to get someone else that's going to make a difference? It's be interesting to see what happens with this Charger team. Will they be smarter? I mean, I think that's where I think we're all at right now. Just show me that you guys have figured it out, that you guys are a laughing stock, that you haven't figured it out. There's a big part of me that wants the Rams to make the playoffs just because I hope it puts, a fire under the Chargers' butts to go, this is embarrassing. This team won a Super Bowl that we shared a stadium with 2 years ago. And at the same time, they make the playoffs again. And we're at home when we're supposed to be that team that made a serious playoff run. We have to do something because we're fighting for a fan base here. Speaking of that, very irritated by Mike Tirico tonight at the game when he commented on the fact of all the Buffalo Bills fans that were at SoFi Stadium. We all knew the Bills fans were going to be at SoFi. The Bills fans travel. You wouldn't want to get out of the snow this time of year and come out to Southern California where we all wear shorts today. That's without a doubt, that's where you want to be. But the NFL doesn't want that either. That's not good business for 2 teams that relocated back to Los Angeles and the NFL trying to make their mark in the second biggest media market, that the stadium's filled with a bunch of fans from the East Coast. Josh and I watched the game tonight with a buddy of ours who sold his 4 tickets. Guess what? $1,000. No parking. Didn't have to deal with driving home from SoFi. Guess what? He sold them to Bills fans. And he watched the game with us because the Chargers aren't making a run at the playoffs. That's what happens when your team isn't competitive. People sell their tickets to other fan bases. But for Mike Tirico to bring it up, man, I don't think that was good for the NFL or good for the Chargers.
Dude, you hear voices and you think, oh my God, that is football right there. Like for me, when I hear John Madden's voice, I think, oh my God, Monday Night Football, that's my childhood. Al Michaels, I think football, that's, it's just football right there. Monday Night Football with John Madden. When I hear Tirico's voice, I think, holy hell, why did I get Mike Tirico for this game? There's nothing about him that makes me think football. He's a golf guy. If anybody doesn't know that, Mike Tirico's a golf guy. He wanted to do golf only. I wish he would have stayed with golf. I cannot stand when Mike Tirico gets the games. It is like a curse on me and all the Charger fans. We keep getting Mike Tirico for these games. It's awful. I looked at the number 5 draft pick for the last 10 years. 9 out of the last 10 picks for the number 5 position are Pro Bowl players. There's a 90% chance you're going to get a Pro Bowl player. You can't screw it up. And I know it's the Chargers. They screw up a lot of things. You can't screw this up. These are the guys that went at number 5 the last 10 years. Ezekiel Ansah, Khalil Mack, Brandon Scherf, Jalen Ramsey, Corey Davis, Bradley Chubb, Devin White, Tua, Jamar Chase, Kayvon Thibodeau, Devin Witherspoon. Every single one of those guys is a Pro Bowl player except for Corey Davis, who actually doesn't play football anymore. But there's a 90% chance you're going to get a Pro Bowl player at the number 5 pick. You got to get it right. And I'm totally fine with the Chargers trading down to get multiple picks because, like we said last show, there's 25 different places on this team you can replace guys. There's so many holes on this team. You can't just get one guy and think it's going to work. Brock Bowers, I would love to see a tight end that's young like that being paired with Justin Herbert because I think it's great for Justin Herbert to have a reliable tight end like that. And for all you people that say a tight end can't change things, look at the Chiefs. Travis Kelce, and you think, oh my God, you're going to compare Travis Kelce to Brock Bowers? Yes. If you've watched any Georgia football in the last 3 seasons, I'm comparing Brock Bowers to Travis Kelce. The guy dominates. He's unbelievable. He's the best college tight end I've ever seen. You definitely draft a guy like that if he's available and he's the best player available. If you want to get a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm not going to complain because he's awesome. But you got to get the pick right. And there's so many guys there that you can change the franchise with the number 5 pick.
And I'll be completely honest with you guys. I think receivers, you can never have too many. You can always improve that room. And with that, with so much receiver talent every single year, as soon as one guy is going to walk out that door because he hits 30, 32, 30, 30, 34, and you can get a young guy in there, get him in there. You see the Vikings did it. Adam Thielen, hell of a receiver, right? Especially for a good 2-3 year span. Hell of a receiver. Justin Jefferson was in that door. He walks in. Thielen leaves. Who they replace him with? Not Zay Flowers. Jordan Addison. I almost said Zay Flowers. Jordan Addison. Hell of a football player. That's something you got to keep doing. Seahawks doing this right now at JSN. Chargers tried to do it. Didn't work. But Series is a position you can never have too little of. You can always have more. Always add more. I think defensive linemen's another spot like that too. And the Eagles are doing that right now. The Eagles are monsters up front. I mean, they kill you up front. They dominate you up front. And you want that. Are they in a tough spot right now? Yeah, but I'll see you in the playoffs. I still wouldn't want to face them. I would still want to face about 90% of everyone else in the NFC, not named the Niners. It's fascinating. I'm excited to see what they do kind of in that spot. I will say, guys, we didn't mention this about the Bills-Chargers game. Round of applause for the Chargers doing this again. Round of freaking applause. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, there's no one better. We take a guy that's had a really tough go, hasn't been able to put it together. Fantasy owners are pissed. And we go, Gabe Davis, here's your best game. Here's your present for Christmas. You're going to dominate us. We're going to put Michael Davis on you. You're going to get open, buddy. And Josh Allen's going to deliver you some freaking beautiful bombs. 4 receptions, 130 yards, 1 touchdown. Gabe Davis was back tonight. And once again, gentlemen, if you're struggling, if your career's not going well, don't join the Chargers. Face the Chargers.
There you go. That was nice. That was beautiful.
Felt like I just did a World War II commercial.
I know, but I feel worse.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're feeling better. By the way, I will point out everyone's 100% right. I messed up the Chargers schedule in the last show. Chargers do have another home game. It's against the Chiefs. It's supposed to be January 7th. That'll be the end of the season. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Mario was right. What he told me at the very beginning of the year said Chiefs will not be playing their starters because the game won't mean anything. I think the Chiefs are going to play their starters because they haven't had the season they thought they were going to have either. Can the Chargers pull up an upset? Who knows? Watch the Chargers fall right out of this thing and blow that top 5 pick. They finish with the Broncos on the road. Then, of course, they take on the Chiefs. And then we're talking about, 2024 full speed, which way it goes and which guys are showing the door. Real quick, want to ask you guys, because I might have missed it because I was taking notes during the game. Was Joey Bosa in a box or was he on the sideline tonight for the game? Either one of you see him?
No.
Anyone?
I didn't see him.
No?
Hmm.
Okay. Whenever he's in San Francisco, getting ready to support his brother for Monday Night Football.
Hey, what's
know.
up with the report that he wants to play again this season? Bull crap.
Yeah, he does.
I will bet everything I have this guy doesn't play the rest of the season. I keep seeing that report. Joey Bosa wants to get back on the field. Dude, he doesn't even show up to the field for the games when he's not playing.
Yeah.
Like, you think he's going to play? Come on now.
Yeah, no shot.
That was ridiculous. And of course, Justin Herbert, you see him there. You see guys, you see Keenan Allen there. No Joey Bosa. You haven't seen Joey Bosa since he was eating Raisin Bran in that box a week after the first injury. Whatever. That's just what he is, man. See you later.
Mm-hmm.
See you later to a lot of guys that I'm telling you, Charger fans, you aren't going to miss. You want guys wearing that uniform that the scoreboard actually matters. They're playing for their job. And for Joey, man, he's cashing $30 million checks. And that's just the way it's been. It's been a really disappointing career to see Joey Bosa in a Charger uniform. And I believe he says stuff, like you said, Josh, about wanting to get back on the field because he's trying to show his new team for next year that football is important to him. And he did everything he could to get back on the field. No one's buying that for a second. If you're smart, you wouldn't buy that move unless you go, here's a guy, if you pair him with another defensive end with a winning culture, that he's going to be a different kind of player. Good luck to you, Joey. I just hope it's not in a Charger uniform. That's not the kind of leadership you're looking for when the ship's going down. Very disappointed in him all the way to the very end. So that's it. Right now, Chargers lose tonight, guys, 24-22. They fall to 5-10 on the season. We will talk, of course, draft as soon as the next two games are over. The next game for them will be in Denver against the Broncos. At the same time, I'll be doing the same thing in that game that we did tonight. I'll be rooting for the Chargers to beat the Broncos. I can't stand the Denver Broncos, and there's no way in hell I'm rooting for that uniform. So we'll be hoping that they can do something and they pull something out of tonight's game moving forward. But we'll see. Disappointed loss because the Buffalo Bills literally handed it to us, dropping the ball all over the field, and Chargers still lose by 2. We'll be back on Tuesday, all right, for our next show. Go ahead, Mario. You're about to say something.
Yeah, no, back Tuesday. I was going to ask, what was your guys' favorite Christmas gift you've ever gotten, or holiday gift, or whatever you guys celebrate?
My favorite gift that I ever got when I was like 6 years old, my parents got me a basketball hoop, and I love playing basketball, so I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Yeah.
Was it for indoor, like indoor one?
Oh, it was like the
What
real
are you
one.
talking about? We live in Southern California, dude. It's 72 degrees every day. It's
well, it has the glass backboard, if that's your question.
Yeah.
Like it's
Okay.
as real as it gets.
I got you.
What, you think you got a Nerf hoop put on the back of a door in his bedroom? Come on.
All right. I forgot the smart ass entered the conversation. Jesus Christ, dude.
If that was the best gift, if that was the best gift he ever got, was an indoor hoop, dude, I'm the saddest father on the planet. That's ridiculous.
All right, well, Kurt Herron, turn this pod off, dude. An indoor basketball hoop's pretty sick.
Well, if you have an indoor basketball court, dude, my ceilings aren't that tall. What the hell are you talking about?
Welcome to the rest of America, where we don't have sunshine for every single day of the year. You got improvise.
Does everyone in Indiana? I know it's Hoosier land. Does everyone in Indiana have an indoor basketball court?
They have something. They do. They do. Every friend I had something.
Okay.
Anyways, Mario, what was the best gift you ever got for holidays?
Let's hear it. Bottle of whiskey two days ago. What was it?
Okay, first off, it was a $200 bottle of whiskey. I was pretty fucking pumped about it. Jerk. I cannot wait to drink it tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Probably I got like a autographed Jordan of when he did the free throw line dunk. I had that autographed, and it was in like my section. Yeah, and
nice.
All my siblings tried to steal it, and my mom was like, "No, that was for him, not for you guys."
Who gave it to you? Who gave it to you?
My parents. Yeah, my parents. I must have did really good that year, but I got that. It was that same year I got that from them, and then this other one I got. It's not like authentic, like real autographs. Like it's very much printed, but it's Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan golfing that I have as well. That's just, I mean, it's cool, but like it's not real, but it's very cool.
That is pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's pretty cool, man. Good deal.
What about you, Dave?
I'm trying to think, man. There's nothing.
Were
You'll
toys
see
even
when you get
invented yet?
no wooden shoes. I got.
Yeah.
No, look when. But I tell you what, for me with Christmas with the Josh and his brother, the best gift was a guitar. What was it? What was a garage band? Was what we got. Do
No,
you remember
Garage
Garage
Band
Band,
comes with the
Mark?
Mac computer. No, it's called Rock Band. Garage Band
Rock
comes with
Band.
the Mac
Sorry,
computer.
Rock Band.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rock Band. Do you remember? Do you remember Guitar Hero and Rock Band, Mario?
Yeah, I do remember it.
So, dude, we buy this damn thing. None of us, play instruments, but all of a sudden, man, we break this thing out. Josh and his brother on the guitar. My wife did the singing. I played the drums, and it was a blast, man. It was like we could not get on this thing enough to jump in and play this thing. Now it was by far the worst one. Josh and his brother could play the guitar great, and my wife could sing, but man, I was so bad on the drums, and everybody in the family screaming at me after every song for ruining the score. But it was honestly, it was the best Christmas ever. Am I right, Josh? That was a good one.
100% got everybody involved. It was awesome.
It was a good
That's a
time, man.
yeah. Those games
You
are
said-
always like, Go
yeah,
ahead.
they're a blast. Sorry, man. But Grandpa did get you something, right? You talked about the other day on your podcast.
Yeah,
You said
you want me to bring it
Right.
up? I'll say it.
you said it was your best gift you ever got. That's why.
Yeah, best gift I ever got. Mara will laugh at me when I tell you what it was, but at the time, it was a part in my life growing up where my dad and my parents were struggling for money,
Mhm.
and basically things were really really tight. And as a kid, you didn't realize that things were tight, but at the same time, you weren't getting the new shoes, you weren't getting new clothes, you weren't getting things, and you realized things were stressed out around the house. And so I never asked for anything as a kid. Never asked. I would go to the mall, would never ask for a thing. Whatever my parents got me, they got me. I just never would say, "Can I have?" And so Josh was the same way. Josh never asked for a damn thing. His brother, by the way, asked for everything, but Josh never asked for things. We just had to try and guess what Josh would like. So one day I remember I was at a buddy's house and we were playing football all day long. My dad picks me up and I get in the car and he starts yelling at me for not making my bed. When you go home, I need you to, as soon as you walk in the house, put your stuff down and walk right to that room. You make your bed. That's the first thing you're supposed to do every morning. And I'm angry and I'm like, where do you get off yelling at me? It's 4:30 in the afternoon and I got to go make the bed. And I go walking down that hallway and there was a brand new video game console. It was made by Atari, which I don't know if you know what Atari is, but he did it. I think it was $130, and I know it probably wasn't easy for him to buy that at that time. He just probably thought, "Hey, this kid needs something," and whatever
awesome.
it was, he when things were rough, he found the money to buy that for me. That was a big one. That was one I'll never
Yeah.
forget.
It was
That's
2
awesome,
weeks
man.
ago. It was really cool.
That
by
was 2
Grandpa.
weeks ago.
Yeah, it was really nice.
But he hit a home run with it. Yeah, $130. He bought it on eBay. But yeah, it was cool. But yeah, that
What's
was it.
$130 back then? What's that equivalent to now? You think
It's like
Probably
300 now.
$500. Probably $500.
that's a lot of
the
money, especially for
PS5s.
somebody that's struggling. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
cool, man.
That's
so
cool.
like PS5s. Yeah, but that was cool. Be honest with you, I can't remember another gift my dad ever bought me my whole life except that. Is that
Really?
funny? Yeah.
That
But as a kid, though, like Josh said, he stood the basketball hoop. When I was a kid, man, I remember getting my first football, and man, I love that thing. I never let go of it. I was running spirals up in the air all around the house forever with that damn thing. Then trying to find anyone that would play catch with me. No, I love that damn football.
I try to remember we had a indoor one and we call it because of the last name Heron. We called it we wrote the nest on it. And I was like, that was freaking genius. I was like, that was the smartest thing I've ever. I was like, that was so smart to do. And I was like, now it's stupid. But we got that. I remember when we got that hoop. This was a period of time when I inspired to be Carmelo Anthony. So like I like really wanted like a gym bag every time I went to like a basketball AU tournament. So my grandma got me a pink gym bag with the Bulls logo on it. She got that for me, and then she got the same thing for my closest sibling to me, Joey. And she got it both for me, and we go to open it. And I'm a guy, I open it, I give you more than you. If you give me a present, I'm giving you more than you'd ever want. I'm going nuts. I'm saying this is the best thing. Like I always said for everything. I was speechless because they literally said 4 girls inside. It said 4 little girls, 13 years old, just opened it. And I just looked over at my dad. My dad's dying laughing. dying laughing. And then my grandma goes, Kurt, I just don't remember getting you Christmas presents growing up. And that's why, and my dad goes, because he did it. That's why we never did. He's like, you never got us anything. Just, well, I like to get the grandkid stuff now. So shout out to her.
Was June there?
No, this was pre-June. This was
it's
pre-June because my sister didn't marry her husband yet.
Okay.
I'll give June a call tomorrow. Make sure she's doing good.
I'm sure she could have taken it in the back and made it all better. But anyway, shout out to June.
Whoa.
I'm just saying. No, you're going a whole nother direction than what I was thinking. Come on.
Yeah, no, yeah, sure. Because you would never go that direction.
All right. Before we get out of here, I'm gonna say something serious. Okay. I never say anything serious on this show. All right. As we do the show tonight, it's the 23rd. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Don't know what you celebrate, but everyone knows it's a holiday season. The majority of the country does celebrate Christmas. I'm sure even if you aren't one of those people that normally celebrates Christmas, you're going to be invited out somewhere. I hope you are, and you feel loved by the people in your community and your family. Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. I will say this, and Josh knows too. A few years ago, we lost Josh's little brother, and Christmas has never been the same. I will say this to anybody listening to the show. When you're with family and friends the next 2 days, take a second, look around the table, look at the faces, appreciate the people that love you, the people that you love, because those faces will change. And, most of you have pictures on your phone and video on your phone. Don't be afraid to take more pictures than you normally would. You're going to miss those faces one day. And so, in all seriousness, enjoy the next 2 days. We really appreciate you listening and commenting on this show. Mario is a family to Josh and I. That's why we're able to give him a hard time, because it's a hard time back, man. We love him like he's one of our own. And we love doing this. So we thank you for listening through the Coach, the Odyssey app, Bolt City Podcasts, and of course YouTube. But it's been a crazy year. So we do appreciate it very, very much. And that's pretty cool. You just did that, Mario. We'll be back on Tuesday with the next Chargers show, and I hope everybody has a great next 2 days.